back, everybody, to Thanks for Your Concern. You're here with Berenice.
And I'm Ella. Welcome back to another exciting week of Thanks for Your Concern. I'm just excited for this episode. We're going to talk about
Yes.
non-negotiables in every way, shape, and form in your life. But before we do that, let's do an update. Berenice, look at you in your hijinks fit.
In my merch.
Ooh,
In my merch, I actually bargained for this. I want to say that is one of the skills I've learned since I moved to New York. One is don't mess with me, with these people that are trying to upcharge me. And two, like having a buying position. They really taught me the power of, demand and walking away. Your power is in walking away. So this man was like $25. I was like, as if 15. And then he was like, no. And I was like, okay. Started walking away. He said, come back to me. We settled at a good place. Yeah. But that has absolutely nothing to do with how I'm doing. I actually died for like a week, like right after the last episode that where we chit chatted. I got COVID, dude, and I was like really not good. Like I don't know what was in this strain of COVID, but I was unwell. Like I thought I was dying. But we made it through once again.
Okay. Always bounce back, baby.
Yeah. And I'm doing good. My spirits are back up. But I was extremely just like tired for like a week. I would say I was out. I'm having like a ton of requests for festival outfits, so I'm super excited about that. I know my side hustle is just growing, which we love, and honestly, I'm just learning to be a better businesswoman. I put down the sad girl songs and I put on the business podcast, okay?
Okay. I love it.
I need to be a new girly because, when you grow up in a background where nobody in your family like has started a business, I'm like, like first generation out here. So there's some things like I just didn't grow up around. I don't have like a business brain mentality. So I have to get myself there one way or another, So I feel like it's a good like first step to get the ball rolling.
I love that. Do you have any hot recommendations yet, or are you still sussing them out?
I've listened to a few, but like I obviously love me a good story. How I built this is like a pretty good one. They have different business owners like of really big companies come and talk about like how they built their business. Specifically, the Dutch Bros like episode had me fucking bawling, bro. It's just honestly those owners are like pretty awesome people. So yeah, if you're like trying to get inspired or just like want to hear some good stories about how people like started their own business, yeah, how I built this is a pretty good one.
I love that. That's good. I'm gonna have to check that one out because I love Dutch Bros. It's been a minute since I've been able to treat myself to some Dutch, but
to a little sugary drink.
A little sugary. It's a fun little treat, but a lot of fucking sugar, dude. Not only does it have 6 shots of coffee, it's got like so much. I'm like, it's like the last thing I need, but love it.
Yeah. How you been,
bro? Never better. Okay, never better.
Okay, good.
I will say, like, with manifesting and like. I want to give a shout out to this girl, Lily May. She's on a Netflix show, Down for Love, which like follows people that have Down syndrome and like their journey in love. Love it, But this bitch, she is like a fucking rock star, right? And her dad was like, yeah, it's because she just like manifests everything. Like she said she wanted to be a model. Now she is. Like everything she says she wants, she just goes for. And I was like so inspired because she was like literally talking about all this shit she does. And I was like, wait, I love this for you. Like, and I'm going to do this too. But with manifesting and like working on like my vision board for 2024, I've like made a couple of really big decisions recently that are like really already having a huge effect. I've cut down on working out by like half. Okay. I went from like 6 workouts a week to 3 days of solid core. Solid core is so fucking intense that it's like the same amount of workout, but it's in much less time, and I'm still going on a daily hot girl walk. But now we've picked up the pace, so me and my girl Cardi, we're like power walking around the neighborhood. We're having a great fucking time. And then also I'm simplifying my daily meals. Like, you'd think I was a fucking cooking influencer with these elaborate meals that I make myself every single day, which do bring me joy, but I really do not have time to make myself like
Yeah.
a 2-hour meal every single day. I'm I'm talking making pho from scratch. I'm making pozole on a weeknight. Like, no, I don't have time for this. Okay. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's just crazy, like crazy ambitious weeknight meals and weekend meals. So I've cut it down. I've cut that down, and also I've started this new thing where I shop once a week, and I have never grocery shopped for an entire week. Why? Because my fresh veggies go bad. You know what? I just did this new thing where on day like 6, there's no like fresh veggies. There's only potatoes and onions and frozen veggies. So I solved that problem. So now I feel like I have so much more free time, and I actually don't have free time. I'm just not cooking and working out, which is like 5 hours a day, you know? So I feel great. I found some
Good.
time, baby. So
You
we
found
hustling and
some
bustling.
time. There is just some things that you gotta trade off. There's not enough hours in the day. It's sad. It is what it is when you have a 9 to 5 and
Yeah.
you have like other goals and aspirations. With something's gotta give. So I'm glad that you allocated some time. You found the hours in the day. Yeah, I will say cooking is an ambitious adventure. Like that's why when people ask me, "Do you cook?" I'm like, I would love to, but like I don't have time for that. You know what I mean? Like I meal prep, and that's about it. And then like I honestly I don't know. I've talked to people and they're like, "You barely eat," and I was like, I feel like I eat all the time, but I guess I
Are you
don't
just
eat
a
that much.
snacker, like a constant?
Yeah,
You just have your little snackies. Yeah, that are
yeah,
meals. Yeah,
yeah.
you're like the expert of like girl meal, you know?
I no, I could probably be healthier and better at it, but like if I'm hungry, I'll eat. I'll have a snack, but I just don't feel like I need that much food in my day overall.
Well,
Unless I'm like powerlifting, those days I'm like, oh, like I need a burger, I need this. But if I'm not doing all that and I've cut down from the gym a little bit, I don't get that hungry.
boom, bam, boom.
Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, another thing that I've found time, I've put like such extreme blockers on all my apps on my phone. I haven't consumed any social media in
That's
like only maybe
amazing.
30 minutes this past
Shit,
week.
I need to get on that.
Oh my god, that one's a big one too. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm feeling very great, very hyped, very energized, and
Good.
I'm ready to get into this episode. It should be a really fun one.
Let's send it.
Well, thanks for your concern. All right, you guys, non-negotiables, and we're going to talk
Non-negotiables.
like I don't know, I was going to separate it out between like family, relationships and friends, but I kind of have similar non-negotiables.
Yeah, I think it's just like overall like boundaries and shit that you're not gonna put on with for anyone, and they all are kind of like interlinked because if you're like if I'm not gonna put up with something in a relationship in a romantic relationship, that's probably you're not gonna put up with that anywhere else.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah, yeah,
We don't got different rules. It's the same rules for everyone. We make it easy and quick. I don't care who the fuck you are.
These
These
are
are
my
the rules.
non-negotiables. Love it.
Okay. My number this is in no particular order, but the first one that popped into my mind was like no haters. Like I literally there's nothing I hate more in this world than a freaking hater. I like hype men. Now, I do like someone who keeps me a little bit grounded, who keeps it real, but that's different than just hating. Like I hate when someone I actually see this a lot with not me specifically. I sometimes see like my family members being like, oh no, you can't do that." And I'm like, "Yes, they can. They most certainly
Mm.
can." You know, where I shut it down with other people too. I just feel like don't tell someone else what they can and can't do.
Yeah, and it sucks that like people like to put each other down just because you have a mind of limitations. That does not apply to me, baby. Welcome to Delulu land, where I, if she believed she could, so she did. Okay, remember? That's
Literally.
our mantra. Okay,
It's still my mantra,
it's
baby.
still our mantra. No, for real. I feel like if you can visualize it, if you could really believe that you're gonna be it, then you can do it. But like, if you say, "No, never in a million years am I gonna be able to do that," well, duh. Like, don't limit yourself like that. I think it's that when other people try to limit you, I actually had somebody I met at Lost Lands, like super randomly. I like to teach people how to use the whip at like shows.
Love
Um,
it.
yeah,
Building
and I was
community.
building community, and I
Dope.
was teaching them. We had like a 10-minute interaction, and then I like randomly they tagged me on like a post, and they're like basically a whole paragraph about how they thought about this interaction they had with me for like 6 months. And I was like, oh shit, I need to watch what I say, like, was it toxic? No, and they were just talking about how they glove. So in EDM scenes, like there's like gloves with lights and people do glove like shows. And people have like different trinkets and stuff like that that they use to flow, which is like the way of dancing. And their whole post was basically about how they kind of gave that up because the people that gifted them the gloves in that community told them that they weren't like good enough in that like traditional glover aspect. And when I hung out with them, I was like, there's no rules to this. This is a light up gadget. You get to do whatever you feel like doing with this because there are no rules, bitch. And they said that for some reason they never like really consider that there are no rules, no set of limitations. And they were also talking about how they were non-binary and how that affected their dancing. And I was like, why does that affect your dancing? You're just expressing yourself. It doesn't have to be, based on your gender. It's just based on how
Yeah.
you feel. And so yeah, so basically they said that they thought about that interaction for 6 months and they're like that changed their way of thinking. But I was just thinking about the fact that somebody told them like you're not good enough for this, you're not like traditionally whatever. Like so many people are just so down to hate when you do things differently, when you do things that they're not accustomed to, where they it doesn't feel like their notion of what success looks like, of what life is supposed to be. And if you have people like that, like limiting your life factors, you gotta let those people go. Those people are going to bring you down with them. And there's so many people that are in a place of discomfort with their lives, and it's really fucking sad that they will literally just drag you with them because people like misery loves company. So I think if you can always tell when people have like weird energy, when they're fighting themselves, their demons, they're not, just like
Yeah.
loving themselves the way that they should. And as much as maybe those people have been in your life, you gotta say, lovey, baby.
It's crazy that you're talking about no rules because I was actually thinking about this in relation to I've given up on recipes, which has helped with me saving time in cooking. Because I'm just like, you know what? I don't need someone else to tell me how to do this. And what I need to make this, I'm just going to fucking shoot from the hip. And then that
Mhm.
way I'm going to waste less food because I'm buying less random stuff, right?
Yeah,
And then someone's like, wow, that's not how you make X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, no, who gives
that's
a
how
fuck?
I make it.
Yeah, literally, there's no rules to cooking, there's no rules to life. Like, I feel like a lot of people like having, recipes or rules because it gives you like order or whatever. But baby, no, there aren't no rules. Like you can make up your own rules for yourself. So someone
Yeah.
saying you're not good at traditional gloving, honestly, that's hilarious to
Yeah.
be honest.
Right. I'm
Like
like,
that's
there's a book? Like,
like
where are these? Who's judging? This is not an Olympic sport.
it's just really funny when people get into like I guess like it also like it kind of applies to when people are in niche groups that have some type of hierarchy
Yeah.
and you're like,
Yeah.
wait, this is really silly because we enjoyed the same thing. Like I remember watching this documentary about beards and there was like a whole like your beard's not natural, da 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 da, and there was a lot of beef in the beard community and I'm like, there should only be love because all you weirdos are just into beards like that, you know? So yeah, I
Yeah.
think that's why I hate haters is because it's like why do you get to be the person who says this is a good movie or like this is good or this is not good or this is right or wrong? There is no right or wrong. There's no good nor bad. That's just like fuck it. It's just life.
It's
It just
subjective.
is
Make your life
super
what you want it
subjective.
to be, okay? Along with like negative vibes, negative energy, I had a really interesting encounter that I feel like I hadn't had in years. So, like a few years ago, I met a friend, and she's a Leo. So, like, I see people who have like Leo placements as like they think they're the shit, the bomb diggity, and I'm Delulu too. So I be acting like that. And whenever we hung out, those were our interactions. So then we went to like a music festival, and they had like a friend from their college years come with them. When I tell you, I did not recognize this person that was my friend because she put on like a rave outfit, and her friend looked at themselves in the mirror and started self-criticizing, being like, I look
Ew.
so fat, like I feel so gross. And it was like a team thing. And I have never done that. Like, maybe when I was like way younger and like kind of insecure, but like, I first of all, if I heard my friend talk like that about herself, I would be like, do not talk about my friend like that. Okay? Like, the fuck? Stand up. You're a beautiful person. And we're not going to sit here and team criticize ourselves and each other. Like, what the fuck is that? It was like a really weird thing because like I didn't know her friend, so I felt weird jumping in and being like, why are you acting so fucking weird for? You know what I mean? Um,
Yeah.
you gotta be your own biggest fan, like, honestly. And I think it comes down to like self-love. And I obviously, like, I wish them well. They're not my friends anymore, but like, I just don't put down your friends. Don't put yourself down, but especially like if you see your friend putting themselves down, remind them who the fuck they are, dude. Remind them how beautiful they are. Like, I know that sometimes like we have moments where we feel insecure, but when we have like people that love us, they don't let us like stay in that. You know what I mean? It's because it's sad.
Yeah, it is sad. It's honest. It's interesting because I think that's something like I feel like I grew a lot in college with a lot of self-love because I didn't want how I spoke about myself to like negatively affect the people around me, because it's like if I hate myself and I tell myself that I look ugly or whatever, then someone else around me might be like, "Oh, well, I think she's gorgeous, but she thinks she's ugly, so I must be ugly." And so like I really worked on like no, if I would never talk about my friend like this, I should treat myself like a friend. But I think a non-negotiable definitely is someone who I don't know. I guess I'm older now, so it's a little different. I think like when I was younger, if you're like super self-conscious, like I was like more down for it because I was also super self-conscious. But now I'm like 29 and I'm like, dude, being self-conscious is so overrated. Like you're 29, like like grow the fuck up, love yourself.
Fuck up.
I just mean, like, the world's gonna hate you, so why would you hate yourself too? Like,
That's true. And if you struggle with this, because obviously like some people don't like themselves and that's just a reality, write down some things that you like about yourself, like, for real. Like, really sit down and be like, what are things that I fuck with about myself? Whether you could say, I love my taste in music, I have the best fucking taste in music ever. Write that bitch down. Okay? And every day add another one. Like, I bet you like yourself and you fuck with yourself way more than you think you do. Like,
yeah.
most people are dope fucking people, but like, you gotta recognize those places of yourself and celebrate yourself.
If you like name the self-critic as something that is other than yourself, and tell that person they're fucking lying, okay? If the person in your head is telling you you're ugly, name that person fucking, I don't know, April, and be like, April, shut the fuck up, you're lying to me.
Yeah.
Like, that voice in your head that's telling
Patricia!
you
Patricia!
no, literally. Whoever that little voice in your head that's
Fucking
telling you that you're
Patricia!
not the shit, tell them to shut the fuck up and they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Just like your anxiety is lying to you, your self-doubt's lying to you. You are the shit.
Yeah.
You can do whatever the fuck you want.
Period. Purr, okay? Get those
Period.
selfie affirmations out. No, because I mean it happens to everybody. Like, I've been getting my little
Yeah.
orders and it's nice, but it's overwhelming. And sometimes I'm like, oh God, like, do I really want to put in this much work? Can I really get it done? And sometimes you have that feeling of self-doubt or feeling of maybe I can't do it. I got up this morning and I said, who the fuck are you right now? this is not who we are. And I looked at myself in the mirror and I told myself like 5 times, like, I am capable, like, I am talented, I am this, I am this, I am this. And it honestly turned my day around. But you do need to love yourself, believe in yourself, and hype yourself up. If somebody doesn't do it for you, whatever, you need to do it for yourself. Show up for yourself.
And that kind of like connects to this thing is that this is why I don't need fucking haters, is because we already have self-doubt. We already have like that in ourselves. We all have an inner critic. I don't fucking need a +1 to my inner critic, which is someone outside of me telling me that I'm not the shit. So,
These are also self non-negotiables. Like, I'm not gonna be mean to myself. And the thing is, like, when you're not mean to yourself, when somebody else is mean to you, you're like, what the fuck would I let that person be mean to me? You know what I mean? So like all of these things really start with you.
okay, another one. Another one is someone who wants to listen as much as they want to be heard.
Mm.
So I feel like this one's specific to my family more than anything else. But sometimes I've been trying to create boundaries about like having a two-way conversation and having communication that's really about like dialogue instead of like you talking at me and that's it. Like that's not really going to resolve conflict. It's like I just need you to listen to my side and I'll hear your side. And I think in the past, I'm kind of an easy person to like walk over in conversations because sometimes I like just disassociate and like listen. But I've been really trying to like actually communicate instead of just like listening to people.
Listen as much as you're trying to. I think I like to think about this as creating space for people to share sometimes because I know that I fill a room. Like you get me started, I won't shut the fuck up. So sometimes I'm like, it's now others' turns to talk. Bernice, like, um, yeah, I definitely, I definitely feel like along with just communication in general, just communication works both ways. You know what I mean? So you got to be able to communicate. You got to be able to be transparent. I'm I think I grew up as a people pleaser mainly because I just wanted to avoid conflict and I wanted to be liked, obviously. And I think as you get older, you realize like when you do that, you give up a lot of things about yourself and people don't necessarily even know you. When you are complacent and when you just say okay all the time instead of like putting your opinion out there, people don't, you don't get like the opportunity for people to actually get to know who the fuck you are. And I had this issue actually with my parents and like my family where I felt like I was never transparent with my family growing up because I wanted to save so many arguments that I was like, my family has no idea who I am. They have this like watered down version of who I am. And obviously as an adult your relationship with your parents changes, and I've been way more forthcoming about pretty much everything in my life because I'm not financially dependent on them, which is, you know, kind of the deal. Um and I I love that I feel like they have really gotten to know me and they fuck with me. You know what I mean? Like I can say, "Oh yeah, my family knows exactly who I am," and like details about my life, and I feel like they celebrate that about me. And it's such a good feeling when you allow other people to really get to know you, but you have to you have to communicate, you have to be transparent about like who you are and what you want in relationships. And that comes along with like also people respect that. You know what I mean? Like you got to say no for them to know that it's a no, and that's just overall like how to build a boundary is to say, "Hey, I actually didn't like that." And you know, I like it really hurt my feelings and this is how, you know, I would like to be approached. But unless you say that, people don't fucking know. And like you're not a doormat. Like I used to be a doormat because I didn't know how to create boundaries. And once you start creating boundaries, you actually realize when people cross them and then you get to decide how you want to go along with that relationship. My non-negotiables now that I've, you know, had 2 years of practicing like establishing boundaries is being able to walk away like a lot sooner. Like what does it mean when you cross my boundaries and what does that look like for me? Because I feel like I have a big heart. I like to give people chances. But some people don't deserve chances. Okay? You got to stand on your business with boundaries. Those are really your non-negotiables, like, yo, I'm going to I'm going to honor my boundaries when you dishonor them. That is like probably like I think the hardest thing for people to do is you can tell somebody like, "Hey, don't do this." But if they don't do it, then you got to be the one that stands on your boundaries if they're not going to do it for you. And it's sad, and you have to be tough with yourself. Even that means giving up on some people. And if you're not used to like giving up on people, that sucks. But people will use love to their advantage. Something they're like thinking about in a manipulation tactic. People use the love that you have for them to step all over you.
Yeah, I was thinking about when you're talking about either like giving someone the opportunity to like succeed or fail, but when you stay quiet and you don't, when you just people please automatically, like you don't actually give people the opportunity to please you. So you could have like pent up resentment that's just like you doing that to you because you've never given someone the opportunity to like go along with you and please you, you know? You never know until you ask kind of thing. And then the other thing is with like you said with setting boundaries is you never get someone the opportunity to either overstep that boundary or be like, "Oh yeah, totally cool. I totally respect that and I'm going to go with that because I value you and our relationship and I want to keep it as healthy as possible." You kind of like rob people of that opportunity and that agency to like be closer with you by not speaking up and by not creating boundaries. I think something that's helped me a lot in therapy is like giving myself permission to set a boundary, and then have been so surprised by how many people have been respecting them. And it's like, oh man, I've just been like, of course, there's going to be honestly people who don't respect your boundaries, and I guess I am like lucky in that way. But yeah, I've been like kind of stressing myself out because I have been not wanting to set boundaries when I thought it was going to be this big, huge thing. And then setting a boundary has actually been really fucking easy. So now I feel a lot less drained and exhausted because I feel like my boundaries are being respected, you know? And
Yeah.
I have been cheating myself of that opportunity and resenting my loved ones because I haven't been able to speak up on boundaries.
It takes a while, and not a lot of people know about boundaries or know how to respond to boundaries. I will say that. Like, there's some people that are with the shits that like have done some self work and like understand that you're coming from a good place. Um, but I've also like I literally just had this conversation with my dad the other day, and I was like, "Oh, you should probably write down what your boundaries are in that in that relationship." And then when you feel ready to fix that relationship, when you feel ready to have that conversation, because sometimes somebody will trigger you or will do something that crosses a boundary that makes you feel bad, but you don't even know that that's a boundary, right? So figuring out what are my boundaries, and then if you're still upset with that person, you don't need to go right ahead and be like, hey, these are my boundaries. I think there comes a time where you can bring that up where you feel like this is a safe place for me to establish this, and this is a relationship that I feel like it's worth having a conversation about. Um, yeah, I was explaining to my dad how to do that, and he was like, it's just not something that he was used to. There's also people that you tell your boundaries to, and they don't know how to respond to it because probably nobody has ever set a boundary with them
Yeah.
before. Um, so you just keep that in mind that not everybody's gonna catch up immediately. But it
Yeah.
is about the effort people are willing to work with you with. You know what I mean? I think there's some give people some grace if they try to work it out with you.
It's there's probably like a little bit of like the more someone is unwilling to respect a boundary, the more necessary it is to have a boundary with them, you know, like because then they'll
Yeah.
just like they'll go fucking endlessly. And honestly, I think like people might think like, "Oh, boundary, that's really intense." But something that can just be low key that maybe we set boundaries all the time, like businesses say no shoots, no wow, that's a tongue twister. No shoes, no shirts, no service. Like that's a boundary. One I set with my family that like was really stressing me out, but really was no big deal was being like, "Hey, like I just needed like at least a week's notice for family things just cuz I'm pretty busy. So like if you tell me a couple days before, I'm just not might not be able to make it." Right? And now people plan things a little bit more because so for so long I'll do anything at the drop of the hat that's kind of like the expectation that I set instead of, "Hey, now
Mhm.
this is our new expectation, like I just need a week." And now everyone respects that. So they don't have to be like crazy, but once you start doing it, your life becomes a lot less stressful because you feel more respected.
Yeah, and I would say if you are in like situationship to situationship, it's probably because of lack of boundaries. The second that you bring those up, you're gonna get ghosted. Like, dead ass, dude. Like, you want
Yeah.
a situationship to end, you go ahead and drop that word, bro. Like,
I So I was telling somebody, I was like, bro, you need I was basically saying this person was talking about what they were looking for. And I was like, have you shared that with the person that you are dating now? And they were like, no. And I was like,
no.
I think you should, because I think they might bow out.
Yeah, yeah.
And lo and behold, that person was not ready for what this person was looking for. And so they
No.
ghosted. And you might
Yeah,
think like that's so rude, but it's like, no, you're wasting your own time by not bringing up your non-negotiables and your
yeah,
boundaries with these
yeah,
people. Like, I'll tell you something like that's I know really pop right now. Like, what's her name? Like Shara, like Sprinkle Sprinkle.
yeah.
She
Yeah.
has some toxic
Sprinkle, sprinkle.
advice,
She does, but some of it.
but some of it is kind of related to boundaries. Like,
Yeah.
if you tell a guy, hey, no, like if a guy's like, oh, like I don't know, I don't want to take you to dinner on a first date. You're like, okay, well if you want to be friends and get coffee, that's fine. Like that's a toxic that is a sassy way of like putting a boundary. A more like healthy way would be like, I'm only interested in spending quality time with someone. I don't know, whatever you want to say. But that is like a version of a boundary, which is like I
Yeah.
am only gonna date people who are taking me seriously.
Bet. I know. Sprinkle, sprinkle. You gotta deter from the toxic. You gotta decipher through the toxic.
Yeah.
But yeah, my girl. And it's
She's
actually one of.
funny.
She's
Like
funny.
she's
She is funny.
humorous.
Yeah, she is. Honestly, it's one of my non-negotiables. I said in dating, it's I planned shit like princess treatment behavior. I think like I am good. Like I realize like by myself, I'm okay. I'm good. I'm independent. I get my shit done. Do I want it all the time? No. Like I would love like somebody. However, if you're not contributing any positive attributes to my fucking life, if there's something that like I can't do, you know what I mean? Like I already got it. So if you're not adding anything, I don't fucking need you, bro. Like I am really here. Like if I'm gonna let somebody enter into my life, it's because they're gonna treat me a certain way and they're gonna make me feel secure in a certain way, and we're gonna be like a team, like a little duo. Like I'm looking for a forever buddy. But if it's like that's not the vibe, if you're like deterring me from my goals, my priorities, if you end up being like a negative distraction from like the bigger things in life, which is like peace, like fucking peace, having like a peaceful lifestyle, being able to work on our goals together. If that's not the vibe, then what are we doing here? You know what I mean? Like I just don't feel like that's something I need. If you're not bringing any positive attribute, you gotta fucking go, bro. Because I can take care of myself. So you what are we doing?
Yeah. I mean, I double down that with like friends and family too. Like if you're
Yeah.
not adding positive, if you're not adding, if you're not a bonus to my life, then yeah, there's no place for you in where I'm at right now. I'm too fucking busy. I got too much going on. I'm too happy on my own to like have relationships that don't serve me. I would say I kind of like wish I could like reach out through the screen and like shake everyone who's in like a relationship that's really not serving them, because I swear to God, you'll find somebody who is willing to give you what your current relationship isn't. All right? Like
Yeah.
there is someone out there for everyone. Like don't let someone tell you like, "Oh, you're never going to find a guy who does that for you." Yeah, you will. You will. You'll find somebody. Like there's someone who is everything that you need. It might take you a long while, but don't settle because someone's like, I don't know, just like played you into thinking that like there's not
Yeah.
better out there.
And it's not even what you like, maybe it's not what you need at the moment. Like we are forever growing, evolving humans. What you need now may not be what you need in like 2 years from now, right? And sometimes, like, taking that time to be by yourself and healing parts where, like, you may need somebody. I think there's like situations like that where, like, you feel like you physically need somebody there, even though they're not your person, because you need that emotional support. However, if you spend a little time by yourself and you fix those aspects in your life and the things that maybe you got yourself more than you actually need another human being, by the time 2 years comes around, you're going to need a different human being from the one you needed 2 years ago. You know what I mean? That's
Mm,
going to be a different
yeah.
person. So I think about that all the time because things that I wanted have changed over time, like, so much. Obviously, when I was in college, I wanted a, I I was okay with entering any relationship and being like, oh yeah, like this could or could not work out. I cannot tell you that I would do that right now. Like, I would not call somebody my boyfriend unless I felt like I see this person long term. Like, they have these qualities where I already know that it's gonna work out. Like, attraction and connection just isn't enough. You know what I mean? You need that compatibility to actually build something with someone. And I think, like, back into my college relationship, oh, we had a great connection. We loved each other so much. We were not compatible people. You know what I mean? Like, I need somebody that is ambitious, a go-getter, working on their own goals, like, because that's the way, like, I kind of navigate. And when I'm not around people like that, I'm kind of like, why are you not like that? And although, like, there's nothing wrong with people that aren't like that. That's just not somebody I can grow with, you know?
Yeah.
And that's just the reality of the situation. So you can have a beautiful connection with somebody but not be compatible to them. So you just got to be, like, kind of real about that, unfortunately.
I really like what you said about, I don't know, but compatibility is different for every person, so you have to like
Mhm.
define it for yourself. And a lot of people have different goals with dating, but
Yeah.
I honestly feel really relating to, I mean, I've never dated for the hee hee ha ha's. I've always looked for like forever because I like don't like, I don't like, it's not that I don't like wasting time, but it's just like I don't really see the I've never really seen the point of casually dating someone.
No. If no,
Like,
we're not gonna be like soul tied. What's the
no, I've literally just have I that has never
point?
resonated with me. Like, I literally am like have been looking for my forever person forever, but like just because why not? Like, we're just gonna date and then we're gonna break up because I
And then we
already
can't
been
even be
known.
friends
Yeah.
because then other people, like, I don't like
I don't
that.
like it. Never have, never will.
No, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good thing. You know what I mean? I don't need that many exes. I hate,
Oh my
honestly, one of the
god.
biggest things I hate is having to end things with somebody and we can't be homies, bro. Like, I hate when you disrespect me because now we can't be friends out of just like the fact that you did me so dirty.
I don't know.
Like, fuck.
I just also I just feel like, I mean, this is just me, but like I get really emotionally invested in like other human beings, and I like to be a
Yeah,
cheerleader for other people, and like you can only have so much energy for of that, to be honest. And like even
yeah,
like some of my exes, I'm like still rooting for them secretly, like from afar, because it's like,
yeah.
oh, I know that they're a good person and it didn't work out, but like they deserve the world. But like I can't have a long list of those people, you know?
I
So
don't want
I
to.
keep it
I don't want
keep it
to.
tight.
Yeah.
Keep it tight, keep
Keep
it
it
right.
short. Yeah, I think some other non-negotiables for me, especially, you gotta create the you gotta surround yourself with the people that you want to be like, right? So I like it for me, it's like any type of toxic environment isn't non-negotiable. If you've been my forever friend, but suddenly you decide that you want to start like using drugs every day, that's probably a non-negotiable for me. Like, I love you so much, but like, those are toxic environments. Okay, if you are my friend but you start dating somebody that does cocaine every day, baby, I'm here for you when you need to get out, but I am not gonna kick it with you. Like, that's just not the lifestyle and the people I need to associate myself
That
with.
gives me
Okay.
anxiety.
like I cannot do that. I'm grown. It was the same thing with the rave scene. Like, I think it's obviously been hard for me to date because, like, I hang out in the rave scene a lot, and obviously, like, that's kind of like the dating pool. But my non-negotiable is I don't want a drug user. like I'm not like that, and my I don't want my partner to participate in that, not because of, well, obviously the drugs itself are bad for you, but it's also everything that has to do with that. Like the
Yeah.
next day you're feeling a certain, like they're gonna be in a certain way. It's also with like even weed. Like if you're smoking weed every day, like I'm not the one for you, babes, and you're not the one for me. Just in general, that makes you very lazy, and I just can't live that type of lifestyle. Like, you know what I mean?
Sober
Like there.
kings. Honestly, well, obviously I'm sober. I'm straight edge. uh, but it's so interesting because I feel like that feels so far away, but it's like people are living it right now, if that makes sense. And sometimes I can't
Yeah.
comprehend that because it's like, I don't know, it just feels like so long ago that like I was hanging out with people that were like doing, I don't know, just using recreational drugs, and like now I'm like, how would you do that? I'm 30. Like how does that fit into your life? And the
No. Yeah.
honest answer is that it doesn't fit into my life. It just doesn't make sense for me. So being around people that live similarly just makes sense.
Yeah. And and if you're trying to level up in your life, like honestly, you need to like be that person, and to surround yourself with people that are also leveling up in their life. You know what I mean? Like I just have not met a lot of successful people that hang out in environments that, you know, people that are choosing different ways of living are living, because you just don't.
Well,
Because
yeah,
you have different, yeah.
you have different. Not only is it like connections, but it's just like the reality of the situation. It slows you the fuck down. Like there's a lot of
It
things that like
does.
slow you down, and like if you're trying to like perform at, I mean, Miley Cyrus said this thing where she was like, I just want to be 100%, 100% of the time. And that really resonated with me because it's like, I really like, I'm trying to find hours in the day, so I'm cutting down on cooking. I don't have time to go on a fucking bender. Like, I just don't have time for it, you know? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
I wish
No, it's
I wish
true.
I
No,
did,
it's
but I
true.
just don't have time for it in my life right now. So, yeah, and I'm ready to level up. I've been leveling up. Leveling up. It's such a weird thing, but honestly, I'm just really working on people that hold me accountable. So, if I'm looking for someone who will like hold me accountable for little things like going to bed at the right time and like making sure that I'm eating 3 meals a day, and that I'm like, if I want to find an accountability buddy, they have to be doing like the same things as me and have the same
Yeah,
motivations of like, hey, I know why it's important for you to get 8 hours of sleep, instead of encouraging me to like skimp on sleep.
yeah. You gotta find people like you want to be like. I think I hate to quote the Kardashians, but like I think they said something along those lines too. That is like, you don't like necessarily want to be the smartest person in the room. You want to go hang out where the smarter people are. You know what I mean? Like you want to go. You need to go be in those spaces where people are pushing you to be better. No down.
I like really being around people who inspire me to learn more. I think that's what, like, I don't think I would ever walk into a room and think I'm the smartest person, because I just don't think you can know people enough to know whether
Yeah.
you're the smartest person or something. But I definitely know when I have conversations with people and I'm like, you know what? That's interesting. They mentioned a book of something I want to learn, or they mentioned something that I don't know a lot about. And so I do like to be around inspiring people where I feel like I want to be better and do better and learn more. And I guess that's part of like my big non-negotiable is being around people that inspire me to be the best version of myself. And I usually find that with people who are living really authentically in themselves and doing whatever they want to do, but like to the fullest form. Like, I don't think, like, I'm so inspired by people who want to do different things than me, but it's like, I love that you're a badass at it, you know? Like, I'm probably not
Yeah.
going to be a nurse, but I love that you're a badass nurse. That makes me feel so good. And like, oh, I'm probably never going to bike across Europe, but I love that you did that. Like, that's so dope, you know?
Yeah. No, I think it just comes off with like the vibe and the mentality and the drive. You know what I mean? So surround yourself with people that inspire you, that you want to essentially. I don't want to say like be like. And if you're surrounding yourself with people that you want to be like, but you're not ready to actually put in the work to be that way, then you're automatically going to be a hater. Like you're automatically not going to be happy about their wins. You're automatically not going to be able to be like a good friend. There's nothing worse than like being in a room of people with like your quote unquote friends and have people not be genuinely happy for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that that comes more because they feel like they're not in that place of their life where they want to be, but they're surrounding themselves with people that are quote unquote like leveling up. So, just be ready to level up if you're gonna shoot for that. If you don't feel like you're in a place where like something good happens to your friend and you feel happy, ask yourself why. Yeah. And then, become a happier person so you can be happy for your friend.
A way to build self-esteem is to do esteemable acts.
Okay.
And esteemable acts can be different for every person, but I know that as individuals, we do not recognize our successes every single day, you know? And so, like, literally, sometimes you need to sit down and write down, like, what am I proud of today? And like for me, I will completely forget all the work I do at work or like all the work I do on myself with feeding myself, going to solid core and walking. And I'll be like, I didn't get this one thing done. And it will ruin the vibe because I didn't get one thing done instead of reflecting on all the things I did do. Um, and so if you're like really purposeful in like r- just giving yourself credit where credit is due, you're going to feel so much happier in your own skin because you already have written down, like, oh, I have all these reasons to hype myself up. I did all these things, and these were all just for me, and I am a badass bitch. So that's another thing.
Be a badass bitch. Bad bitch vibrations. We're still rolling with that. Yeah, figure out your non-negotiables and stuff. It's good to have boundaries, period. Generally, period. And I don't know, work in your own energy. It's always good to honestly take time to just vibe for yourself. When you fuck with yourself, and I think like you can recognize that people that are like you will attract people that are like you might attract people that are not, that want to be like you, but then again you get to suss them out, right? And with your non-negotiables you can figure out who your people.
All right, everybody. That is the episode of Non Negotiables. Hit us up with your non negotiables on our social media. You can find us at Thanks Number for Your Concern, and I'm at Ella L. Tutor.
And I'm at Bernice Ideas M.
And like always, please subscribe to this podcast if you're not. Go ahead and share it with a friend, as well as rate and review. It helps us out a whole lot. And we
It
hope that we will
does.
have you back next week. We'll see you next
Yeah.
week.
Kiss kiss, ta ta.
Bye.
Toodles.